And I think maybe a good place to start is to talk a little bit about why is the market so gloomy to begin with. What I've got here on the screen right now, I'm on the Yahoo Finance website, and I'm looking at a 1 year kind of a trail here, and you can see that at one point we had a high of 48.18, and that's not where we are at the moment. I had an interesting piece from LPL that came out here a little over a week ago, and the title says, "Have we really seen extreme pessimism yet?" And in this article, they reference a really interesting contrarian indicator, and we look at this group, the American Association of Individual Investors. You may have gotten a mailing from them. It's kind of a do-it-yourself investors site. And so they got a couple different tools. But one of the things that they do that's interesting to people like me is that they poll these individual investors every week, and they've been doing it since the 80s. And what they found in this was that the level of negativity right now it's so high, and it hasn't been this high since April of 2009. So we have April 2009. I gotta show you this. I think this is pretty wild. Let's go to page 4 of the JP Morgan Guide to the Markets. If you go back here, and we've got our timeline at the bottom, and you say, all right, well, here's 2009, and this point right here marked an inflection point. It would have been the very best time to be a buyer over these last 13 years. Now, that's not a prediction of what's about to happen, but I do think that there's something there to pay attention to. Let me take you to another spot. In case you think that this is just a one-off, and I was being very selective in the data that I chose to pick out there, here are 8 different peaks in consumer confidence and 8 different troughs in consumer confidence. And what it kind of shows us here, I think, is that when people are really feeling the worst, that's typically the time that's best to put money to work. It's the best time to be an owner of these companies. And conversely, when people are feeling the most full of themselves, is probably a great time to be trimming. There's an old story about John F. Kennedy's dad, Joe, right before the Great Depression, where he was getting his shoe shined, and the shoe shine guy was telling him about his hot stock pick. And Joe immediately went to his broker and said, sell everything. So he actually sidestepped a lot of loss just because he kind of had that feeling that everyone was a little too high on the market. Well, that's not where we're at right now, clearly. And again, I'm not necessarily saying that this pretends that the next 12 months we're going to see 20% gains, but that is what this all averages out to be.